I think franchisees need to get out of their locations more because for at least for me, I was suffocating my team. I was the bottleneck. I was doing every like little thing that they needed me to do, and I was there. Like I was the assistant to my employees. And so I was not doing a very good job of developing people. I was basically creating dependency on me. I needed to be needed. It felt good to be needed. But boy, it was not good for the business.
Representing Franchise Secrets, Erik Von Horn.
Hey, it's Erik here again with a solo episode. I did one on like as a franchisee, the things that I wish I would have known or I wish I would have paid more attention to. And I wanted to kind of continue along that same theme. The first one that I talked about originally was that territory, having too much territory, grabbing as many territories as you could, innovating early versus like just executing on the system, obsessing over things that don't really matter versus obsessing over getting customers in the door and taking care of those customers, like over leveraging and not having enough built into your global P&L at the entity level to have your locations fund your second or third or fourth truck or location. Over leveraging is a bad thing. And then just relying on brand name. People rely on that brand name, rely on the brand, the franchisor, to do the things the franchisee should be doing. So those were some of the things that we talked about. Oh, top line. People focus so much on the top line versus the bottom line. That's not good. The other thing I wanted to mention is we had this session in our franchise mastermind with that's coming up with I don't know when this is going to release, but it's coming up from the time of this recording that he's going to talk about the time when he made a decision to scale back. I think he had close to 20 locations. He's like, I got to scale back, sell off some of those locations. And that way he could just focus on like the ones that were the juiciest, the most profitable, the easiest, the most stable. So a lot of times we as franchisees are always thinking about scaling, or franchisors are thinking about scaling more and more and more for the franchisees. And sometimes that's scaling back or not growing as fast. Sometimes that means doubling down too. If you are in growth mode versus like stabilization mode. So flip the script on that. There was a time when this one, he was in growth mode and he grew, and then he realized the life that he wanted to have and sold off some of those that were more of a time suck or not as profitable. So you just need to know what season you're in as an entrepreneur, as a builder of franchises. And when we started one of our brands as a franchisee, we had to build 12 locations in 5 years. And that was a heavy, heavy task ahead of us. We were prepared to lose 11 locations. If the first one was a disaster, we paid for 12. We would have given up all of those and given them back to the franchisor if things weren't progressing as we wanted them to. With that one, things didn't, happen just like we thought. Store number 3 was a train wreck. Like store number 3 was a drag with money. Like that was a capital call. Store number 3 was like full of capital calls. Like for the first 3 years, we were putting money into that. But thank God we didn't stop there. Like same franchisees, same general market, bad. It was just bad and then we made some bad decisions. Like I could blame it on construction and location and this, that, and the other, but we made bad decisions. Like there's so many things that we as franchisees want to blame everybody else for, and we certainly could have. But one of the things that we did wrong there is we lowered our prices when we shouldn't have. And because we lowered our prices on it was in the salon suite business. So we lowered our prices probably like by 40% because we need to get bodies in there. We didn't have bodies in there. We needed bodies. We needed people paying rent, because if they're not paying rent, you're not making any money. And and the capital calls were bigger. So we needed bodies. We dropped the rent, and gosh, once you do that, you can kind of only increase probably, I don't know, was it 5 to 10% a year? So dropping it 30 to 40% and then trying to climb out of that, it was just a disaster. So as I look back, yes, construction played a role in that. It wasn't as a desirable of a location in the particular center. And we were more bullish than we should have been, because we were told, by people in the know that this is going to be our top location. So we're like, this is a slam dunk. Well, it turned out not to be. But the biggest mistake that we made, that we had control over, was lowering the fees that we were charging, and we just couldn't climb out of that. So that's an example of like bad things going on in that third location. But that fourth location, everything was the same, just a slightly different market. And that thing opened up as the most profitable location in all of Orange County. And and I'm sure it's just extremely profitable today. Like, that thing is just a money maker. You couldn't help but make money in that location. You couldn't help but lose money in our other location. Same manager, same franchisees, same general area. One was amazing, one wasn't. So focus on the things that you can control versus having a pity party over the things that you can't control. Here's another thing that's on my list. Like, it's so easy we call them like franchisee coffee clubs. Like, it's just a club of franchisees that just have these therapy sessions. They think they're talking about valuable things. We thought we were talking about valuable things, helpful things. And then all of a sudden they're just venting. There's no solutions. And if there is a solution that's brought up, they kind of get shut down with a bunch of complaining. So, I've been in those, and thank God I get out of those very quickly. I don't want my managers in those types of clubs with other managers or other owners. I shut that down right away as a franchisee, because it doesn't, there's nothing in there that's valuable to helping me, our location as a franchisee, get better, make more money, better marketing, better customer service, better everything. It's not a place to get better as a therapy session, and there's no solutions. So I think a litmus test on something like that, like, hey, is this conversation, this group, this email thread serving me? Like, what have been the solutions that have come out of here in the last 60 days? Like, if you can't look back and say, here are the solutions, here are the things that are working in other places, if you can't have a decent list of those types of things, then it's probably a group that you don't want to be in. You need to be in a solution-oriented, solution-focused group. And franchisees that are in those solution-focused group are the ones that do well. And they typically don't participate in those types of groups. And hopefully you, at the end of this, will realize what type of group that you're in, or maybe you could change the group that you're in. And you can say something like, hey, we've had a lot of conversation. What are some solutions that we can do as franchisees? Let's say the corporate office, the franchisor, doesn't change. Nothing changes. What can you do, can we do as a franchisee to actually change things, to have better KPIs, to have better marketing, more customers, higher retention, and the right people will have solutions. So that's how you figure out if you're in a therapy group, or you're in a group of people that just want to vent but have no real solutions, because it's so easy to vent. It's so easy to complain. It's not so easy to, like, where do we go from here? So every conversation is like, where do we go from here? How do we get better at this? That's what I this is one of the things that I got better at really fast as a franchisee. So after my first brand, like I did not get involved in any of these underperforming clubs. You don't want to be part of an underperforming club. Just label it in your mind. This is the underperformers network. This is the underperformer club. Like if they don't have solutions, if they are not the most successful, then you're in the underperformer email thread, text thread. Don't be in those. Like that's like one of the worst things for everybody. All right. Here's another thing. And I was so guilty of this one. Very, very good at it. I was always in the store. I always thought I needed to be in the store. I thought I'll just watch all my employees. Like this is the tax business. I didn't know how to do taxes. So especially if I didn't not know how to do taxes, why was I in the store? I was so much better out of the store. I had a manager in my store, and yet I was in there because it was comfortable being in there. I think franchisees need to get out of their locations more because at least for me, I was suffocating my team. I was the bottleneck. I was doing every like little thing that they needed me to do. And I was there. Like I was the assistant to my employees. And so I was not doing a very good job of developing people. I was basically creating dependency on me. I needed to be needed. It felt good to be needed. But boy, it was not good for the business. I'm better off of being the advocate out there, doing the marketing, thinking, strategy, all kinds of other things besides just being in the location, thinking I'm being helpful. So I think one of the things that you can do is just take a break, take a sabbatical, a 1-week sabbatical, and say like, hey, you're in control. You figure it out. If you need me, here's how to reach me. And then see what breaks. And obviously nothing is going to like completely blow up because you're a phone call away, but give your team a test and by you taking a week or 2-week or 3-week sabbatical. And I've done this multiple times. But like this is easier for me to do because I'm not a micromanaging type person. So that's not my tendency. My tendency is to give too much without having enough follow-up and giving enough direction. That's my weakness. So once I understood it's better for me to be outside of the store, I let my team run. Again, my weakness was I didn't give them enough direction, and that's where things would break for me. So make sure you give them enough direction. Make sure they have enough of the SOPs. And so maybe just take a 3-day break, see what happens, and then you know what you need to focus on as the franchisee to help your team grow. Because if you go from one location to 2, that second one will probably not do as well as your first one, and that's just pretty common out there because it was your baby. The first one was your baby. You set it up. You were there every step of the way, and then now you have your best people helping you open up your second one, and so your first one suffers and your second one doesn't open up as well. But this is where you start to get better and you see what broke and you see who you need to hire for your third one. And now you can probably, if you have a third location, a third truck, a third van, a third whatever, then you can start to have some economies of scale. And that's when it gets really fun.
Attention, franchisors and franchisees. There are 2 really important resources that I want to share with you that will help you avoid costly mistakes and increase your enterprise value. The first is our free Facebook group. It's a community that has over 4,000 franchisees and franchisors in it. When somebody asks a question, they get honest and authentic answers from multiple perspectives. You can join the group for free over at franchisesecrets.com/Facebook. The second resource I want to share with you is if you're a franchisee and you want to be around a community of successful Zs and other brands and in other industries, this is why I created the Franchisee Mastermind. If you want access to the best single and multi-unit owners to know what they're doing, or if you want to be around other multi-brand owners, then you'll want to check out my Franchisee Mastermind. The reason why people join is they want access to my Rolodex, my connections, to each other. They want a shortcut success, both short-term and long-term. Links will be in the show notes or at scalablefranchise.com.
All right. This is kind of like the other one, but you follow the loudest voices. And this doesn't mean you are getting into groups of franchisees and having these whining sessions or complaining sessions, but if it's a loud voice, an influential voice in a franchisee group, make sure that they're winning. Again, volume does not equal results, doesn't equal profitability, doesn't equal like somebody that you want to be like. So just because they have the highest revenue, like that's one indicator, but they might not be running a tight ship. I see a lot of these franchisees, myself included, early on, employees. I had the wrong schedules. I had the wrong people at the wrong time. I didn't have efficiency in my scheduling. And scheduling is one of the hardest things. And I would lean on your corporate office to help you with scheduling, because you can have amazing top line revenue, but boy, that can get eaten up real fast if you're not in line, and your P&L will show it. So just because someone has the largest amount of revenue and their very loud voice, make sure like that's someone that's actually winning, like really winning. They are opening up more locations. They're consistently having great grand openings. They know their P&Ls. They just know their business, and that's who you need to follow. Follow those loud voices. But the thing is, most of these people that are doing amazing, the good operators that I've seen in franchising, are not the loudest people. Because I look back on all the different brands that I've been involved with as a franchisee, most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, the people that were really winning as franchisees, meaning making a lot of money, having a good life, just growing, they're not super loud. They're operational. They're just getting it done, or they're very entrepreneurial, and they're very marketing driven, and they have a very good ops person that is executing. So I think that's one of the things that you need to look for in these loud voices, to see like, what are they really good at? So one, are they winning? How are they winning? And who else on their team is winning, and learn from them. Because usually in these businesses, there's really two types of, there's kind of three things. You got you as a franchisee, what you need to be focused on today, and then what you need to be focused on in the future when you're at scale, maybe 3 locations or more. And then you've got your marketing and sales, like that's a big piece of a business. And then you've got your operations, and people that are in front of the customer. So those are kind of the big buckets. And I think at times franchisees are kind of involved early on, and it's hard for them to get uninvolved, especially the things that they're good at or they enjoy. So you just need to follow the people that are actually winning. So define what winning is to you. Winning to me is profitable and year over year growth. Like if they're profitable and they're growing year over year, that's somebody that I want to follow. All right, here's another thing. People get addicted to paying money for PR, for Facebook, for Meta, for Google, YouTube, whatever it is. Like it seems like that's the easiest lever to pull. I throw money at this thing, and that's when revenue should start coming in. So paid ads is an easy lever to pull, but if it works, your operations need to be tight. Your operations need to be on point, because if they're not, it's like you're just putting water into a leaky bucket. It just all leaks out, and that's not a good thing. Or it's easy to throw money at those things, at paid media, the things that you're paying for, versus the things that you need to do in your business at the franchisee level, at the store level. What's probably broken is your conversion. Are you converting the people that come in to a customer? And then that customer, are you keeping that customer for as long as you should? That lifetime value of a customer. Like, understand lifetime value, understand retention of that customer. And that's really what you need to focus on. Because sometimes you may need to like shift your budget from just an ad budget to more like, how do I have customer retention? Like, put a little bit more money towards customer retention. Your acquisition, just some people are just so focused on acquisition cost, but you need to be focused on the other side of that. Once you acquire a customer, how long are they a customer? And that will give you your lifetime value. So don't use ad spend to cover up operational weaknesses. Don't use ad spend to focus on the wrong things, because there's things that your office staff probably should be doing that they're not. Maybe they need to be picking up the phone. Maybe you need to be doing more training for them to listen to their calls and how they're engaging with the customer, how they are upselling, or how they are trying to keep customers, and how they're trying to make each customer worth a little bit more money. Selling them an extra thing or two, and then all of a sudden a lot of that just drops to the bottom line, because if you have a high acquisition cost for a customer, which so many of us do right now, it might cost, $100, $200, $300 for a customer, like that. You need to make the most out of that customer. So how do you do that? So those are the things that like franchisees should be thinking about. And those are the conversations that you should be having with other franchisees, or just asking the franchisor, like, how do we get better at this? So your franchisor should be the one that has the answers for that. And I'm telling you, so many times they do. You've been focused on the wrong thing. You haven't been listening to those types of things because it hasn't been as important to you, because you're focused on the wrong stuff. One of the things that franchisees focus on, you guys will love this. So in franchising, it's been this way since I can remember. As a franchisee, I always think the franchisor is making a ton of money off of me. They're upcharging everything. I pay for a cup. That cup they're making, I could buy that cup at retail for less money that they're making me pay for it. I don't like that. That's not good. I've had to pay more money to buy something from the franchisor's vendor that I'm forced to do, more money than I could pay for it regular retail. Like, that's not good. And then I've seen other franchisees and systems that think the franchisor is making all kinds of money. They're getting stuff less than they would anywhere else, and yet they still think the franchisee is gouging them. And I'm telling you, like, that is something. If you like, I haven't been able to change a franchisor from making a bunch of money on stuff and charging me more for it. Like, I was not able to change that. So I'm like, I'm not going to focus on that, even though I didn't like it, didn't approve of it, didn't want it. I had to get to the point where I'm not going to change it. I can't change it. I think it's highway robbery, but what am I going to do about it? I can continue to focus on this thing that's not going to help me, or I'm going to focus on the things that I can do, the levers that I can pull in the business that will help me. That's what I decided to do. But franchisees, I tell you, most of you are dealing with franchisors that are not gouging you. And if they're making a little bit of money because they're buying in massive quantities, or they are paying for stuff up front, have inventory, like, it doesn't matter to me if they make a little bit of money. And as long as you as a franchisee are getting it at a decent or better price than you could anywhere else. So that's an example of like just focusing on the wrong thing. So those are basically, some of the things that have come to mind as I kind of reflect on my journey as a franchisee of the things that I just wish I would have just continued to focus on the right things versus the wrong things. And again, these are conversations that we have in the franchisee mastermind. Like, we are I sit on all sides of this in franchising. I've been on the buyer side. I've helped buyers buy franchises. I've been a franchisor, started a franchisor, developed that initial training as a franchisor, took feedback as a franchisor, the things that we needed to improve on for that first initial training. So I've been a part of all that, crafting the FDD. Like, I did that as a co-founder of a franchisor. And then now at Front Street, we are advising franchisors and we are helping them. And I tell you what, these franchisors that are, and not even just front street franchisors in general that are new emerging brands that that come to us looking for advice. They're not working with an FSO. They're just, thinking about working with us at Front Street. They care about their franchisees. Now, somewhere along the line, greed can happen. And I'm not saying that can't happen, but so many of these emerging franchisees want to do what's right for the franchisee. Like they are thinking more about the franchisee than they are about the franchisor. And then the other truth that I think franchisees don't understand until you've been on the other side of it as a franchisor, there's not a lot of money on the franchisor side of the business for a while. Now, is there a big payday? Absolutely. There might be a big payday, but early on, like it is money going out. You think as a franchisee, you have money going out. You think as you grow, you have money going out, getting your second and third location, funding it from your first. Like that's the story of a franchisor. And they're doing that. And the money is continually being reinvested into the business. And so franchisors are dealing with that same type of stuff. And then they have bigger capital calls, 100, 200, 300, $500,000 capital calls that going in to keep this thing going. But they're looking at it just like you should. This is where we've been. This is where we're going. I'm going to have to put another $500,000 in this thing to get from 60 franchisees to 100 franchisees. And this is how we do it. But things are going to plan at the macro level. Might have some bigger wins here, some bigger losses here, but at a bigger level, things are moving in the right direction. I think franchisees, same way we've got to look at it too. Are things moving in the right direction? Are we increasing customer count? Are we getting better at customer retention? Is our lifetime value increasing? Are customer reviews getting better? Do we have more people leaving positive reviews? Asking for your own feedback from customers. Like what kind of feedback are we getting from customers? Is it getting better? Are we executing on the things that they're asking us to execute better on? Like those are the things to focus on as a franchisee and a franchisor. I'll leave you with this. Franchisees and franchisors, the good ones, are more aligned than what you initially think. This has come from me. I've been on both sides of it. I'm still on both sides of it. Like you are more aligned than you think. Your franchisor wants you to be profitable. They don't see you as a place just to make money on some franchise fees, make money on some royalties, have more royalties for this, that, and the other. Again, like a lot of franchisors that I talk to that are just getting started, they're like, we don't want to have very big royalties. We don't want to have money for like ad or marketing or branding or these different things. And so then we start to ask them questions. How are you going to pay for this? If you did have an extra $200,000 coming in as a technology fee or a marketing fee, would you spend that on marketing? And would that be better or technology? And would that be better for the franchisees? And the answer is always yes. Well, why don't you charge a normal marketing fee or a technology fee so you can give your franchisees better tools and systems and better support and better everything? And they're like, yeah, we will do that. So imagine if your franchisor took those fees from you, just call it a couple $100,000 of fees, and then they mash it with another, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000. And now technology is going to get better for everybody. And everybody is rowing in the same direction. That's franchising. That's what you want to get to. And that's why Greg Nathan in his book, he's from Australia. Go check out Greg Nathan. I think it's called the Franchise Institute. He's the one that really came up with the stages of a franchisee, going from Glee all the way to We. There's like 7 stages. And that is just a classic example of the franchisee life cycle. You want to get to the point where you are working with that franchisor. And again, most franchisors out there want to work with franchisees. They want you more profitable. They want you growing. They want you expanding, and they want you helping. And they want to be able to help you with all of that. So if you're discouraged, read that book. If you're discouraged, don't talk to the underperformer group. Talk to the top performers. And so anyway, I think I'm done. I had a lot of these. I still have more because I've learned a lot as a franchisee over the last 20 years. So hope you found some of that valuable. If you want to check out the mastermind, it's scalablefranchise.com.
Thanks for listening to the Franchise Secrets podcast. Links to everything can be found over at franchisesecrets.com. And if you want my help with anything from starting your own franchise to growing your current franchise business, please visit scalablefranchise.com.